Do you have any information how this all happened and who is behind this killing?
So at this point of time, there is no direct information who was in charge of the killing of Ismail Haniyah.
Is this news is confirmed? Are you sure that Hania is killed?
Well, I see just now that Iran confirmed it. Iranian officials confirmed it.
What kind of anticipation and what kind of measures are being taken by Israeli forces as we are looking towards a potential threat or retaliation from Hamas or Iran?
Yeah, so I would say that the security apparatus in Israel is in a very high state of alert.
There are many reports that Ismail Haniyeh was killed in an airstrike, and some reports are saying that it was killed by Mossad agents. Do you have any information on that?
No, I don't have any information, and there was no Israeli confirmation for any of those details you mentioned. Elimination of number two in Hezbollah, Fuad Shukr, who has a lot of blood on his hands, including 241 American Marines in 1983.
नमस्कार, आप देख रहे हैं भारत तक। मैं हूं आपके साथ अजीत। इस वक्त मेरे साथ मौजूद हैं एजेसी की डायरेक्टर लेफ्टिनेंट कर्नल एविटल लेबोविच। हेलो मैम, वेलकम टू भारत तक।
Thank you.
So my first question will be: we are listening a lot from Iran that Hamas leader Ismail Haniyeh was killed. Do you have any information how this all happened and who is behind this killing?
So at this point of time, there is no direct information who was in charge of the killing of Ismail Haniyeh. Only what the Iranians are reporting, and we should be careful by adopting in full these reports. But the information that was published is that Haniyeh was killed with his bodyguard in an apartment in Tehran at 2 a.m. Tehran times. And he was staying in a building that belonged to the Revolutionary Guards, which, if true, is quite an interesting and also not surprising, I would say, connection between the Iranian Revolutionary Guards and Hamas, which obviously Haniyeh represents.
And is this news is confirmed? Are you sure that Hania is killed? This is not a fake news or planted.
Well, I see just now that Iran confirmed it. Iranian officials confirmed it, including the leader, the top leader in Iran. But I also saw threats. Threats to Israel just came out a few minutes ago, basically saying that Iran will retaliate to Israel, blaming Israel directly, although Israel did not claim any responsibility for this, saying that since it was done on Iranian soil, Israel will pay a price for the killing of Haniyeh.
But Israel didn't give any reaction on this entire killing, and I can see the American defense minister is saying that he will be with Israel if there is any attack on Israel.
Yes, the Lloyd Austin, Defense Secretary of the US, who is currently visiting the Philippines, said in a public statement that the commitment that the US has to Israel is strong as ever, and the US will support Israel and be side on side with Israel. And this is the same message we've always seen. I'll remind the viewers that in April 14, when Iran, for the first time in Israel's history, attacked Israel directly with over 200 drones and different kinds of missiles, including ballistic missiles, the US then led a coalition of a few countries, which together helped to intercept almost 98% of these rockets and drones to Israel's territory.
How significant was Ismail Haniyeh's death in current scenario, and what kind of loss it is for Hamas?
So the strategic impact of his death, the next couple of days, I think, will tell, because right now Israel is working with the mediating countries, Egypt and Qatar and others, and the US, of course, on a possible hostage deal, which is something very critical, as 115 hostages are still remaining in Gaza for almost 300 days. Tomorrow it will be 300 days. So the question will be, is the death of Haniyah, if that will add some pressure to Sinwar, which is the military leader of Hamas, hiding in a tunnel in Gaza. And if that pressure will result in some kind of positive move towards going forward with a hostage deal. So this is something we will see in the next couple of days. In terms of managing Hamas, I don't see a significant kind of impact on managing this terror organization. Haniyah was in power in this specific role since 2017. So in other words, he could be replaced like he was replaced before. So I don't see an immediate impact on the management of Hamas. And at the end of the day, we need to keep in mind that Hamas is based on the fundamental ideology, which is basically saying that the state of Israel does not have a right to exist. And that's where their action was directed to on October 7th, where they murdered over 1,200 Israelis and foreigners and kidnapped more than 250.
My next question will be regarding the internal security and security implications. That what kind of anticipation and what kind of measures are being taken by Israeli forces as we are looking towards a potential threat or retaliation from Hamas or Iran?
Yeah, so I would say that the security apparatus in Israel is in a very high state of alert. Obviously, the target that Israel targeted last night in Beirut, number 2 in Hezbollah, is a terror target. It's not a civilian, although he was living in a civilian area, civilian neighborhood. So a retaliation is possible from Hezbollah. And as I mentioned, the Iranian supreme leader said a few minutes ago that Israel will pay a price. So the alert is very high. However, I do want to say that in terms of the civilian life, there are no change in regulations or preparations. I can also update that in the next couple of hours, the Israeli cabinet will be meeting and deciding upon the next steps. And maybe later today, there will be some new kind of orders for the public here in Israel. Until this minute, life goes on as usual. It's summertime, kids are going to camp, people are going to work, all the stores are open. So at this point of time, there is no significant change.
And actually, we are seeing a huge tension across Israel, and Hezbollah is already targeting Israel, and from Iran we are seeing Hamas leader killed. There are many reports that Ismail Haniyeh was killed in an airstrike, and some reports are saying that it was killed by Mossad agents. Do you have any information on that?
No, I don't have any information, and there was no Israeli confirmation for any of those details you mentioned.
But many countries have clearly said that this is a very kind of a political murder. Like Russia, Turkey, and many countries have reacted to this killing. How do you see that? How do you see that Turkey reacting on this killing?
Look, Hamas and Hezbollah, although they have political wings, they're by no means politicians or ordinary political parties. Like, for example, there is in India, and like, for example, they are in Israel. These are not ordinary politicians. These are terror groups, proxies of Iran, which have one thing in mind: to make sure that Israel is eradicated. That's what they devote their life on. That's what they invest their resources on, and that's what they train their terrorists for. So adding politics in a pure way is not your regular political bodies like you see in different countries. Now, At the end of the day, Israel, like every single country in the world, has the right to defend itself, like India does, like Europe does, like the US does. Now, we have been in a war almost 300 days, a war which we did not choose, a war that we were attacked by vicious terror group called Hamas, with Qatari funding, with Iranian funding, with trainings in Iran, with Iranian weapons and so on. And this is something that we cannot see repeated, not in the future, not ever. So that's the reason we are taking different measures, like the one you saw in Lebanon last night, the elimination of number 2 in Hezbollah, Fuad Shukr, who has a lot of blood on his hands, including 241 American Marines in 1983 when there was an explosion in their base in the Beirut. And this is something that is not only for Israel. This is an interest of the global Western world to have peace and calm and stability rather than terrorism and killings.
Okay, at the last, I want to ask what message would you like to convey to both Israelis and international community on the current situation?
I think that Israel is a strong country. We have we have strong ethical values. We have moral ethics. We have moral clarity. We know who our enemies are. When Hamas, when Iran, when Hezbollah targets Israel, they don't care about targeting Jews or Muslims. They target all of them. Only Saturday, we had 12 kids ages 10 to 16 who were brutally murdered by a Hezbollah rocket, and they were not Jewish. And that was not the first attack on this village, but the fifth. So we are one people, we're united, we're resilient, and we'll do whatever it takes to continue and defend this country. And I'm hoping that the rest of the moderate world, moderate countries around us will join us in this effort because, again, it's not an Israeli problem. It's a global issue.